So here's a screen recording of our HDMI to IP video encoder working. In the background, I'm pulling already a video stream over RTSP. That's why you hear this audio, the wind rustling. What's happening is I have a camera that's on an IP address of 1.45 added to my NVR, and I am taking the HDMI output from my NVR, putting it into my encoder, and then I'm looking at it through RTSP on VLC. Additionally, I'm also pulling the encoder, and you can see it here on the network as a 1.168. That's the default IP we set on the encoders when we ship them, and it shows up as an H.264 encoder as an ONVIF device. I'm going to delete it for a second so you can see it. In my NVR, you have to make sure you're using a compatible NVR that'll recognize the encoder as ONVIF, but the encoders definitely are ONVIF. So it's right here, 192.168.1.168 IP. It shows up as a device of X encoder and ONVIF. Show you that I can add it. So all I have to do on my NVR is I'm going to add it by clicking on a checkbox, and it gets added to my NVR. The NVR recognizes it's an ONVIF stream, and then in a few seconds, if I hit the refresh button, it turns green and it's there. I can view it. So if I go into my NVR under live and I actually click on it, I can actually view the video being output from the encoder here. Depending on the web plugin and stuff here, I can see my NVR menu pull up right here. Had to do nothing except just add it using the username password, and that was all. So if your NVR is not able to do it, that means it's not compatible. And I'm pulling the main stream here. So if I double click on the stream, I can actually enlarge it and view it. So on the background here, I have VLC playing. This is the same stream being output from the HDMI encoder, and I'm able to get it through RTSP as well. If you don't have a good understanding of what ONVIF and RTSP are, I'll explain. RTSP is enveloped inside ONVIF with other parameters. Your NVR or third-party device needs to be able to recognize that ONVIF stream coming from the encoder. If it doesn't, that means it's not properly implemented on your recorder or your third-party device, and you need to find a different device. Our NVRs are able to do that without issue, as we show in the product videos on the product page and in this product video as well. So make sure you purchase a compatible NVR, and or your third-party device is already compatible with this device. The only way you'll know is by testing it and then determining if your NVR is capable and up to the task. So here I have my menu system. If I move my mouse around, you'll see it move, and on this screen, like here, and it's happening in here as well. Now I can hear audio in here through VLC. I'm gonna mute it for a second. And now I'm gonna play the audio through here. In order to do that, your NVR may require you to go into edge mode. HTML5 may not allow you to play audio in your NVR's web interface. So in my NVR, I have to go into edge mode, download a plugin. That's something you may have to do with your NVR, and you're not even aware you have to do that. So I'm installing a plugin to be able to do that, because certain functions are limited on NVR's HTML5 interface that require you to install a plugin. So now I'm here, and now I'm going to play the audio. There you go. You can hear the wind in the background. The HDMI encoder is passing the audio from the ONVIF stream. Let me clarify what's happening. The HDMI is taking the HDMI video and audio from the NVR using its HDMI interface, which you can see here. And I have my camera full screen here. It's displaying its both video and audio to the HDMI output. Make sure your NVR is doing that if that's what you're doing, or your device. Then is sending it over a digital stream, in this case, which is RTSP or ONVIF, goes over and into either VLC or into an ONVIF stream, back into my NVR, and I'm able to play it. Just make sure you're doing all these things to make sure you got everything squared away. If you're not able to do it, you can always purchase a support session and we'll be able to show you. Now, a question comes up, oh, why does this recorder or encoder does not have ONVIF on it? It does have ONVIF. By default, it's an ONVIF device, and that's all it is. So if you go under encoder, you can actually go under audio, and you need to make sure you enable audio over RTSP. Otherwise, you're not going to hear audio. That's one. And look what does it say under audio settings. It says ONVIF audio. By default, you'll see that RTSP is inside ONVIF. That's something for you to learn and understand. RTSP is part of ONVIF. And once you enable it, it will start streaming audio from your HDMI connection and into the RTSP or ONVIF stream. So one point to learn here is RTSP is ONVIF in most recent cases, and make sure you have a compatible NVR. And third, and make sure you've installed any web plugins you need to install on your viewing interface. And lastly, you're actually outputting audio from your HDMI output device. These devices, the HDMI IPs, allow you to change the audio input from digital or analog. The newer models have an audio input that let you switch it to analog, where you can connect a mic and basically put an audio from the mic into the HDMI encoder, and it gets overlaid on top of the HDMI video stream. So if you leave it as digital, it will stream the digital audio coming from the HDMI input into the HDMI IP encoder. But if you do the analog, it will take only the audio input through the audio in connection. Hopefully you found this video useful. Thanks for watching.
If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.